This little bottle of pills costs 10 times more in the United States than it does in the UK for millions of Americans. That's not just a statistic. It's a monthly crisis. It's that tense moment at the pharmacy counter, the impossible choice between medicine and groceries, the feeling that the system is profiting from your pain. Donald Trump has declared a war on Big Pharma to end this, claiming he can slash drug prices for everyone. But is this a genuine plan for affordable medicine, or just an empty promise? Let's break down the truth behind his radical proposal and what it could really mean for your wallet. Before we can figure out if Trump's plan could work, we have to ask, why are we paying these astronomical prices in the first place? It's a uniquely American problem. A 2025 report confirmed that Americans pay nearly 3 times more for the exact same brand name drugs than people in 33 other developed countries. For years, the line from pharmaceutical companies has been that these high prices are the cost of innovation, the fuel for the research and development that leads to new cures. They argue that the profits from the US market are what allow them to take risks on new treatments. But that's only half the story. The path a drug takes from the factory to your medicine cabinet is loaded with powerful players, all taking a cut. The most powerful and least understood are the pharmacy benefit managers, or PBMs. Think of them as the secret middlemen of the drug world. Health insurers hire PBMs to negotiate prices with drug manufacturers, which is supposed to lower costs. In reality, the system is incredibly murky and creates some strange incentives. Here's how it often works. A PBM negotiates a big rebate or discount from a drug company, but instead of passing that full rebate onto you or your insurance plan, the PBM keeps a piece for itself. This creates a bizarre situation where PBMs can actually make more money by favoring more expensive drugs that come with bigger rebates. The 3 largest PBMs control over 75% of the market, giving them immense power to decide which drugs are covered and how much you pay. They create complex drug lists called formularies, steering you towards drugs that are most profitable for them, not always the most cost-effective for you. It's a system where hidden deals mean that even when discounts are negotiated, the savings rarely make it to your wallet. This is the tangled web that any reform has to try and untangle. Faced with this costly system, Donald Trump has proposed a plan he describes as a direct assault on the status quo. His strategy doesn't just nibble at the edges. It aims to fundamentally change how drug prices are set in the US. It all rests on 2 radical pillars. The first and most controversial is a policy called Most Favored Nation Pricing, or MFN. An executive order for this was signed back on May 12, 2025, but the policy isn't fully in effect yet. The idea is simple. For certain drugs, the US government would refuse to pay more than the lowest price paid by any other developed country. So if a drug costs $100 in the US, but the same pill is sold for just $20 in France, the MFN price would become $20. Trump argues this ends global freeloading, where other nations benefit from America's high prices. To force compliance, the administration announced a powerful threat, a 100% tariff on imported branded drugs from non-compliant companies, set to begin on October 1, 2025, though manufacturers can avoid it by building US plants. The second pillar of the plan is an attempt to bypass those middlemen entirely. The administration has announced plans for a new federal platform called TrumpRx.gov, which is slated to launch in 2026. This website is designed to be a direct-to-consumer marketplace where the government negotiates prices directly with manufacturers. The projected price drops announced are dramatic. For instance, the popular diabetes and weight loss drugs Ozempic and Wegovy, which can cost over $1,000 a month, are projected to be available for just $350 through the platform in 2026. The plan also specifies that if a pill version of Wegovy is approved, its initial dose would be priced at $150 a month. Under this plan, Medicare and Medicaid would also start covering these obesity drugs for adults at a much lower cost to taxpayers. The proposed price for Medicare patients for drugs like Wegovy and Zepbound is set to be $245, with a patient copay of just $50 a month. Agreements with companies like Pfizer and AstraZeneca have been announced, but it's important to remember these are recent announcements and not yet operational. In short, the plan would be a 2-pronged attack. Use the MFN policy to reset the price benchmark, and use the TrumpRx platform to deliver savings directly to consumers. So, a plan to pay the lowest price in the world and buy drugs directly from the source. On paper, it sounds like a silver bullet. The projected price drops for blockbuster drugs like Ozempic are undeniably significant and would offer life-changing relief for millions. And for the first time, Medicare coverage for these obesity drugs would become a reality, a huge potential win for seniors. Proponents argue this is the kind of shock the system needs, using executive power to challenge drug companies and force transparency. However, the road from an executive order to you actually saving money is filled with massive obstacles. Let's start with the most favored nation policy. Critics, including many health policy experts, warn it could backfire. One big problem: it's easily gamed. Pharmaceutical companies, facing a price cut in the huge US market, might just stop selling their drugs in the smaller, lower-priced countries used as the benchmark. Or they could raise their public prices in those countries and offer secret rebates, making it look like the price is higher than it is. Then there's the innovation argument. Drug companies have long warned that slashing their revenues will force them to cut back on research and development. The US market accounts for a huge chunk of global pharmaceutical profits, and a drastic cut could mean fewer new drugs in the future. Trump's MFN policy has already faced fierce legal challenges from opponents, who argue it's an illegal overreach of executive power. The Trump RX platform also faces its own set of challenges. Building a federal direct-to-consumer drug website is a massive logistical task. Its success depends entirely on getting manufacturers to willingly participate. While some have signed on, likely pressured by tariff threats, it's no guarantee of widespread adoption. This model also risks disrupting the healthcare supply chain by bypassing local pharmacists, who play a key role in patient counseling and safety. And maybe the biggest question is whether these savings will truly reach patients. There's a persistent risk that other middlemen, like insurers adjusting their premiums or formularies, could just absorb the savings. Even if the government negotiates a lower price, there's no guarantee it won't be marked up before it gets to you. While the plan is radical and its promises are tantalizing, its feasibility is far from certain. It's a high-stakes gamble that could either revolutionize drug pricing or create a mess of unintended consequences. So where does that leave us with Trump's promise? It's a bold, disruptive attempt to solve a problem that has plagued Americans for decades. The plan has the potential to deliver very real savings on a handful of popular drugs, especially for seniors on Medicare. However, its core, the most favored nation policy, rests on a shaky economic and legal foundation. It faces enormous opposition from a powerful pharmaceutical lobby and from experts who warn it could stifle innovation. This isn't a simple story of a president taking on big pharma. It's a collision between an appealing promise and a deeply complex global system. The initial deals show that big price reductions are possible, but whether this can be scaled up to permanently lower costs for all drugs and for all Americans remains the great unanswered question. What do you think? Is this radical approach the only way to fix America's drug prices, or are the risks too great? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. And if you found this analysis helpful, be sure to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the policies that affect your life.